Hello, everybody. Very good to be with you. I want to talk to you today about the secret of your birth. And this is very important. It's a key to awakening. It can sometimes be the key to awakening. So I hope that I can help you with that, help you with this. We'll see. So let's go back to your childhood. Let's go back to when you were 5 or 6 years old. When you were 5 or 6 years old, was your experience different from the way it is today? I mean, here now everything's, cut and dry, carved in stone. This is real. This is not real. This is a bookcase, and and this is a man, and da 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 da, and all that's just hard. And here's the rules. Here's how reality works. In the sense of da da da, and God's out there and all this and that and the other. So the way that a 5 or 6 year old interprets what we call reality, which I will now call relativity, the way that a child interprets relativity is quite different from the truth of relativity and beyond. Because the rules are not so hard when you're a child. 3, 4, 5, 6 years old, I'm sure it can, and I think it really continues up until, well, I don't know when it stops because I never did mature, so we can't know, or I can't know. So, but I love hanging around adults like you. Maybe I'll get it one day, right? And I too will grow up. So it's really not firm as a child. So let's go back a little bit further. Let's go back to the time of your birth. Now, all the New Age stuff, I want that dispensed with, and I want hardcore seekers here to tell themselves the real truth to this question. And that question is, tell me what you remember prior to the birth of that unit. Now, I will tell you quite candidly everything that I can remember prior to the birth of this unit. And everything that can be remembered prior to this unit, I have no memory at all. I don't know what was going on, if anything. I can't actually prove that anything's going on. There's just a blank. Now, it's not a scary blank, is it? I mean, we talk about the void as if it's some kind of scary blank. Oh, God, don't take me to the void. It's a void. What do you think is there to hurt you? God. So my experience, the prior to the birth here, wasn't there is no experience. There's nothing I can report to you because there was no one there to experience it or report about it. There's not the void plus an observer to the void. That's not a void. It can't be an observer in the void. It negates the void. So let's look at this. So since there's no memory, who was there? What was happening prior to your birth? Absolutely nothing. Isn't that right? Absolutely nothing. And in the absence of experience, see, this is not an absence of Fred's experience. This is an absence of Fred and relativity. Fred is a product of relativity. You are a product of relativity. There actually is no Fred, so we can't say that it's a product of relativity, but we can say that it is the apparent product of apparent relativity. God, we're covering all our bases here. We're just being really, really non-dual. I'm sure I'll get cards and letters. So the truth is that the secret of your birth is that you didn't have one. You didn't. Now you say everything is consciousness. Consciousness did have a birth. Consciousness is born. You are not. You are actually that which is prior to consciousness. We can't even say what it is. We don't know what it is. We cannot say it or see it, but we cannot not be it. That's the key. Because there can't be that which is prior to consciousness plus something there to see that. That would take consciousness. There's no consciousness. There's no consciousness. There's no report. There's nothing to report. It's void. So consciousness comes about with the sense of being. The sense of being spontaneously arises. We don't know why or how. We don't care why or how. It just does. Don't ask why or how. Right? Just take it for the truth that it is. The sense of being arises. And that sense of being quickly turns into, because of the conditioning surrounding it, your parents prodding it. I say quickly, it's not really that quick, because you're not on board with this, you're on board with the sense of being for the first couple of years, but you're not on board with the idea of a sense of being afraid. See, there's a sense of being, but there's not yet any sense of being Fred. So that sense of being, it does quickly establish, once it's about 2 years old, I am. See, we think there's I am prior to that. But in infancy, there is no sense of separation. And there just isn't. I've worked with psychiatrists and psychologists all over the world. There's no sense of me or other. See, and which is great, because without a me, there can't be an other. Without an other, there can't be a me. There's not even this. This is an arising. Let's notice consciousness itself is an arising. This is so profound. I cannot tell you how profound this is. I was years into awakening, and I remember the evening that I saw that consciousness was an arising too, and it nearly blew the head off my shoulders. And that's when this teaching began to change. It began to change from a oneness teaching, was what I started for, because that's what I could see and truthfully report on. And it began to turn into more of a true non-dual teaching. Oneness is not, I can't say that oneness is not a non-dual teaching, because it does confirm that there's only one thing and nothing else other than the one thing, and I harp on that. But see, in non-duality, the whole damn thing is built on paradox. So we can say that there is nothing but oneness, and then we can come right behind that. We can say, and there's nothing but non-duality. See, oneness is the idea of not two. It's the idea, this is, there is the oneness teaching, and I used to teach it. Well, what happened was there began to develop something that I would now call, and don't get married to this term, but what I would call the noneness teaching, right? The noneness teaching is, trust me, it is far more skillful than the oneness teaching. And I thought that teaching, just with teeth and claws. I didn't want to teach it because I had things going really good for Fred, but it wasn't about Fred. It was never about Fred, but Fred thought so. And there's no Fred, so how could Fred have thought so? Fredness. There are patterns here. There's no Fred, but there's Fredness. And I want you to look at yourself, so to speak. Look at the body. And then tell yourself the truth. The body is not me. The body is not me. See, the body had a birth, but you didn't. And the body will have a death, but you won't. You won't. You were never born. Therefore, the unborn cannot become the dead, right? Or the undead. You were never born. Now, I can't be talking to that unit over there, can I? Because that unit certainly was born, at least within the rules of relativity. It was born. And within the rules of relativity, it is objective. It is a thing. It can be, we can see it, we can feel it, we can touch it. But we cannot feel, see, or touch you. We can't describe you. We can't discuss you. Nonetheless, that's what I'm talking to, is you. This is you talking to you. So listen up, cowboy. I love that. But see, I'm taken by my own humor, because there's no other humor for me to be taken by. If I don't get the laughs here, I don't get them. Now I'm making fun of something that is, see, we don't want to take all this stuff so damn seriously. I really feel like that's one of the faults of non-duality, is that we take all this so seriously, and we got to get this right, and we got to get that right, and we got to do this the right way, and we got to read this, and we got to put on a robe or a hat or whatever it is. We got to do it, and we got to take this damn thing seriously. And what I'm telling you is that all of that is bullshit. Every bit of it. It doesn't mean it's not pleasant. It doesn't mean that it's unworthy of our attention or participation. It just means it isn't true when it comes to awakening. See, you never had a birth. So can the unborn experience an awakening? No. And the secret to your birth is that you didn't have one. And what isn't here cannot wake up, if you will. The truth is that every unit that's listening to this is already awake. And all the units that are not listening to this, they're already awake. Or they're really, the truth is they are awakeness. It's a verb thing. They are awakeness. Add ing to anything and you're close. There's fretting happening here, but there's no Fred, and there's certainly no Fred doing it. There's no Fred being done. There's just patterns here. And there are patterns over there, and there seems to be an affinity between the patterns, because here you are and here I am. But hell, what were the odds of us meeting like this? 100%. We couldn't not. What are the odds of you dialing into this video today? 100%. It couldn't have not happened. That's what are the odds are that I might not have started this teaching? Well, number one, I didn't start it because there's no Fred over here. But awakeness, I noticed it occurred. I noticed it arose. I didn't actually start it. I didn't do it. It just, see, my job, I don't have a job. Hell, I'm still a hobo if you read about my past. I mean, I'm still a hobo. I'm unemployed. Just like my dogs. My dogs are unemployed. They're screaming for a day off, but I can't give them one because they're unemployed. This thing is ridiculous, isn't it? I mean, what a ridiculous unit to be presenting the most profound thing that there is. It's a ridiculous unit to have chosen. You think God got it wrong? Did it happen? I believe so. So should it have not happened? Where's the evidence? Where is the evidence? See, we got to pay attention to what is and not what isn't. And what is that there isn't a you over there in that body or as that body. And that body is not you. That body is a tool. It's a hammer that's claiming to be the carpenter. It's a hammer that's bitching about, well, everything it can think of. That's what these units do. They bitch. So I am, I bitch. That's the second seeing, okay? Hello, I bitch. So quit your bitching. Come to see this. Come to see that you are the unborn. You're not on this planet. This planet is an experience, but you're not on it. And there's no, actually, well, we could go so far as to say there's no one on it, but we'll do that in another video. Let's take it one step at a time. The secret of your birth is that you didn't have one. Now tell me how the unborn is going to die. And while you're at it, tell me how the unborn is going to suffer. Can the unborn suffer? Well, it can if it thinks it's born. Here we have the hallucination of the born world. And if you think you're here and that you're one of these, you can suffer a lot, can't you? Yeah, these are wonderful tools for suffering. And this is the perfect place for suffering. See, when I think I'm one of these, generally speaking, I'm in hell. There are exceptions to that, but not lasting. They're still bitching. I don't bitch. I have nothing to complain about. I can't find anything wrong. And now from the relative sense, I find this. I find this as it is. And I do not find anything else. I do not find this as it should be. It's not, it doesn't exist. I do not find this as it was because it does not exist. I'm projecting both past and future right now. And there's no one here doing it. It's just happening. This is just happening. That is just happening. And this, whoo, it's the big happening, man. You don't have consciousness. Consciousness has you, and it's just having a ball. To see consciousness, it don't care about suffering. It just wants experiencing. You know, the wants kind of personifies it. I don't mean it that way. It's just that I can't talk about it unless I do. So let's just say that consciousness craves experiencing, and therefore there is the birth of relativity so that consciousness can experience itself objectively, because it can't experience itself subjectively. And I know there are those that argue that it can, but the void is a void, right? A void is a void. So think about it. Take this in. The secret of your birth is that you didn't have one. And guess what? You didn't hear it from me. So I love you and I'll see you later. Thanks. Bye-bye.